I'm Rob Thomas, editor-in-chief of Club and Resort Business, and welcome to the Club and Resort Talks podcast, the podcast where we dive into the minds of industry leaders who are shaping the future of private clubs and the luxury resorts. Today, we're joined by Rob McNamara, General Manager, Director of Golf at Keswick Hall. He's a former LSU All-American, U.S. Open competitor at just 17 years old, and one of the game's great storytellers. Wait till you hear his Gary Player impersonation. We'll talk about hosting the U.S. Open qualifiers, honoring Pete Dye's legacy, and what it takes to deliver elite golf experiences in a resort setting. But before we get to that, let me tell you today's podcast is sponsored by JBD, JGA Design and Architecture. Since its founding by Judd Brown and Steve McMahon in 1983, JBD JGA Design and Architecture has successfully completed an impressive array of design projects for private clubs throughout the United States. Their experienced staff of more than 25 design professionals has completed a multitude of award-winning architectural and interior design projects, including golf clubs, country clubs, and city clubs. Learn more at jbd-jga.com. We got that out of the way. Thank you very much, JBD JGA. Let me tell you a little bit about what's going on in the news. We're going to start in Michigan. Harbor Shores is breaking ground on a Wii course with Colin Montgomerie. The 5-acre, 9-hole pitch-and-putt course will open in 2026. That's right around the corner. The design will consist of holes measuring 60 yards or less, modeled after the 9 most iconic holes of the current Jack Nicklaus layout. I visited there a few years ago. I guess it was right during the height of COVID. So it's been probably about 4 or 5 years now. Beautiful, beautiful area of Michigan, Western Michigan, right on the lake. Gorgeous. The golf course is spectacular. There's, it's basically 3 different golf courses in an 18-hole setting, going through Parkland, out to the lake and back. So it's worth a visit if you're in the area. Let's head down to the Sunshine State for the next spot. The Florida Yacht Club charts a bold course with its FYC 150 renovation. The multi-year initiative was timed to align with Jacksonville Club's upcoming 150th anniversary and focused on preserving tradition while introducing modern amenities. The pool, the dining area. There's a bridal suite. Everything has been touched upon down there in Jacksonville. I've got family down in the area, and look forward to getting down there and visiting it and seeing it for myself. A lot going on in North Florida. Before we get to our guest, one more thing, and this has to do with tariffs and our trip to Washington, D.C. An industry coalition visited Capitol Hill to discuss Chinese low-speed vehicle imports. The meeting comes at a critical time in the trade case, with the U.S. International Trade Commission's final decision on tariffs expected within a couple of weeks. A lot. I mean, they've been dumping a lot of lower cost, lower quality products here on our shores, and the tariffs, as everybody knows, it's not a political podcast, but we pay the taxes, not China. So we can raise it 150% if you want, but the price is going to come down on us. So hopefully that's not the situation, and the coalition can address some widespreading issues with tariffs and other situations there. Club Car, Easy Go, they were both involved. We're big Yamaha fans over here as well. So everything that is affecting our friends in the kart industry is affecting us. So fingers crossed that everything gets taken care of. With all that out of the way, let's get to Robbie Mack and look forward to that Gary Player impersonation. Spectacular. Hello, and welcome back to the Club and Resort Talks podcast. I'm joined by Rob McNamara, General Manager and Director of Golf at Keswick Hall. Rob, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much, Rob. Delighted to be here with you.
Hey, Rob, before we get into the meat and potatoes of our talk, give us a 10,000-foot view of Keswick Hall and the golf experience there.
So Keswick Hall is a fantastic resort and club. We kind of thread the needle of being open to hotel guests. We have a luxury 80-room, five-star resort hotel. We have a Jean Georges restaurant. The food on property is all under the guidance of Jean Georges, who's probably one of the most successful commercial chefs in America. Really, well, I should say the world, really. I mean, he's got restaurants all over the world. So we have great food here. We have a great spa. And of course, we have the private component, which is what I oversee. And the golf is Keswick Club. And we have a Pete Dye golf course that's great. Um, we've done some tweaks to it. It's got a long history, this property, of sort of reinventing itself and getting a little bit better as it goes. The original, you might see from my logo, the original clubhouse was now part of the hotel, was a manor house from 1912. But our current owners, Molly and Robert Hardy, they reimagined this property after several iterations along the way in the last 100 and change years. They took over in 2017 and they've made this place really great. The hotel opened. Our first hotel guest was Bill and Hillary Clinton. This was in 2021. And the golf just keeps getting better. Pete Dye redesigned this place, made it from an Arnold Palmer golf course, and that took place in 2013. We opened in 2015, and we keep making improvements along the way. So it's just a great luxury resort, and we have a club here, and we have memberships from local and national, and it's just a delight to be here. It's awesome. You should come visit.
Well,
Red Carpet City.
I have been invited, and but so far I've only seen pictures, and it is absolutely gorgeous from the golf course to the clubhouse and everything in between. So I promise to get there sooner rather than later. But you're a heck of a stick, and what I understand is you qualify for the U.S. Open at 17 years old, second only to Jack Nicklaus, age-wise. How did that experience shape your career, and how do you draw from it when you're mentoring competitive players today?
Well, a heck of a stick. That might have been the other Rob McNamara a long time ago. I don't know. I have a hard time remembering those moments, but I do remember a lot about the U.S. Open. That was a treasured time in my life. I did qualify like everyone else. I was 17 years old. I was a senior in high school. At that time, they told me I was the second youngest person to ever do it, other than Jack Nicklaus. And I went there with great aspirations and big dreams and hopes. And like most people, the ode to the mouse, so best laid schemes of mice and men oft-time go astray. But I shot 84-77. It sounds like a total train wreck, but I really didn't play that terrible, all things considered. I had a triple and two doubles the first or the second day. I had a triple and three doubles the first day. So it was like my bad holes were all confined. I mean, if you get in the rough at Oakmont, I will just tell you it was knee high to a giraffe. I mean, it was brutal how high the rough was. And I had never seen anything like that before in my life. The thing about the US Open experience was really for me, I may have run my race before the tournament even started. I introduced myself to Arnold Palmer and I played a practice 9-hole practice round with him. I played two practice rounds with Johnny Miller. I played with Gary Player a practice round. And the cool thing about the Gary Player experience, I met him on the Sunday prior and on the putting green, and he said, "Yeah, we're going to play tomorrow. You can join me." So we played the round, and of course we got on great. And it was just really, I mean, he's a showman. He knew what he was doing. He knew I was a kid. There were a lot of people watching, and he goes, Robert, but you can't have lunch with me and Commissioner Beeman. We're going to have lunch after the round. I said, I'd love that. So we go upstairs in the clubhouse in a very little small table for three, nobody else around, and we had lunch. And the conversation. This is 1983. He goes, "There's these young lads need a place to mature on the vine. They need a place to mature and develop the game. And there's no developmental tour. And we need to develop our own tour so these kids aren't chasing all over the world and playing in little dunk opens and little small cities in America. We need to have a real tour." And that's what, to me, probably was the start. When Dean Beeman heard him, he acted like he had never heard this before. And so I think that was the start of what became the Ben Hogan Tour, then the Nike Tour, and Nationwide, Buy.com, whatever, Corn Ferry today. That's where it started. It was kind of cool to be there.
Wow, I'll tell you what, that's a spot on impersonation. First off, I had the pleasure of having Mr. Player on the podcast years ago now. I think it was right when COVID hit. So it's been a long time, but very good on you. And that was Oakmont before the trees got removed, right? So it's a different track back then.
Oh, totally different. It doesn't even remotely look the same. I went back to Oakmont for the U.S. Amateur a couple of years ago, and I was just like, "Holy cow! This does not even look like the same place that it was." I mean, trees. Obviously, from golf, they define the holes in what we see, and when you start having open vistas, which frankly, I'm a big fan of that, and we have that here at Keswick. We have beautiful, beautiful, expansive views where you can see 10 golf holes from the hotel and the restaurant. It's awesome to be sitting up there and looking at the course, but when you're going back to a place that you remember as a kid, and then you come back, what, 40, 38 years later, or whatever it was, and you look up there and you think, holy cow, this is not the same place.
So
But it
full
was a really
circle.
great experience, I'll tell you.
We got a full circle now that Oakmont's back in the spotlight, and you all hosted some U.S. Open qualifiers, I believe. How do you set the golf course, or how is it different setting up for the U.S. Open qualifiers as opposed to everyday play?
Well, our golf course from the back tees is 7250. It's a big golf course, although 7250 now is becoming, pretty normal and short for these kids today. I mean, they can hit it forever, but it's still a really good test of golf we play the Open qualifier here every year, and we're the only site in Virginia, so it must be a good enough golf course to host that tournament. Uh, we have U.S. Open like rough a lot here, so you need to be able to hit the ball straight, and we have really fast, really great greens. Our green superintendent Troy Fink is fantastic. I mean, this guy is world class good, and our greens are like a tabletop. So uh, I feel like it's a good test to get people started through the local before they go to now what they call the final qualifying. It used to be called the sectional, but those were the glory days.
Full Cry has hosted multiple U.S. Open qualifiers and prestigious events. What have you learned from hosting these high level events, and what do you think you can share with other club professionals who are looking to do the same?
I think a lot of times the the expectation is you think you have to really do a lot more than you have to do. If places are run correctly, which I'm sure that today's professionals and club managers are, to me, are getting better and better. Just like everything, the expectations are higher and people are becoming better at their craft and profession. I think if you really do your job right on a day in, day out basis, you don't have to do that much different. I mean, for something like the Open qualifier, we have 84 players. Um, you end up having some extra food and beverage because they always bring in their sort of entourage between their parents or their caddy or their girlfriend or their wife or their fan club or whatever. So you better have good food and beverage ready, and take advantage of some easy, quick cash outdoor dining because usually people are in a hurry. They need to get something to eat while they're playing golf. We fought the rain this year. We got lucky, but if you catch a bad break on the rain, you definitely need to be prepared for safety. Um, we were really lucky. I mean, we came so close to having this thing be a 4-day event, and we got it done at the wire. But safety is a real thing that you got to factor into the equation, getting people off the golf course safely. You have to have a place to put them when they come off the golf course. We don't have a huge clubhouse. We have conference space that we could have, in a real pinch, put people. If we were talking about 150 people, we could have gone into the ballroom or something like that. As it worked out, nothing like that happened. We were in good shape, but I know your audience is really trying to understand operations about this. So I think safety, good food and beverage. I'm sure the golf courses that are going to host are naturally going to up their game. Frankly, we try to get our golf course good for a long time. I feel like our golf course is really good for about 6 months. We fought a little winter kill here this year, though, that was very unusual, and we had to resod about 5.5 acres of sod, as it turned out. But that was an issue that we did not deal with until after the tournament. So we just had some areas that were not necessarily desirable, but it worked out the way it did. Now that's all been remedied and it's perfect shape now. So it's we've solved that problem. But for the most part, if you do a really good job with your golf operation, my guess is you just have to plan for, if you're going to have 100 players qualify, you better figure out how you plan for 300 to 400 people being on your property: parking, safety, medical, food and beverage, just those basic kind of blocking and tackling features before you worry about really getting into the razzle dazzle plays.
Yeah, let the course razzle dazzle, I suppose, on itself. Uh, one of Pete Dye's final designs, what elements of Full Cry do architecture side resonates with you as a professional, and how do you kind of like translate that or educate your players on what to expect from a Pete Dye design?
Well, I wish that I had learned about architecture when I could actually halfway play golf, because I think it would have made me do a little better than maybe I did. I really, because of the Pete Dye element and Scott Sherman, who has taken over as our Scott Sherman works with Davis Love, and Scott was a disciple of Pete Dye, just for edification of who Scott is. He's a terrific guy that you would enjoy talking with, I think, as well. And Scott has taught me a ton about golf architecture. And when you see this golf course, um, you start to realize that the green complexes, and we've created some of these spaces where there's more fairway around the green, and in a way that some people think that makes the golf course play easier. Frankly, I think it makes it play harder. Instead of the ball just ending up a couple of feet off the edge of the green, you where you have to learn how to hit a wedge or hit a lob shot out of high rough. Now you might end up 10, 12, 15 feet away, and the novice golfer can putt that ball. So that might be easier for them, but I would rather be a foot off the green in the rough than 15 feet off on fairway, up a slope over a real little tiny target. Now, maybe someone that's kind of just getting going in golf, I think they like to have that putter in their hand. So it ends up being a nice balance for both. But the trick around this golf course is the greens. The greens all pinch in at the back. And if you get greedy, going for backhoe locations, you're going to pay the price. So if I was advising people, if you can really play every golf hole from the hole back to the tee, if you could make that your habit, instead of playing it from the tee to the green, play it from the green backwards, you'll start to become a better golfer.
That makes perfect sense. Sounds a little bit like Pinehurst number two with the ball rolling off and not just stopping there. Like the pros can obviously hack it out of 4 inch rough around the greens, but when you gotta get creative with when it rolls 10, 20 yards off the green, that's tricky. But I do
It's
like
tricky.
I appreciate the putter off of the green, being a hacker myself. 10 handicaps, can't always handle the rough, but
Old broke down golf pros can't always handle the rough either.
Hey, I like that. I'll give you a better chance than me, though. You had touched upon the luxury hospitality there at Keswick Hall. What are the keys to successfully aligning the golf operations with your everyday golfers and your hotel resort guests with expectations?
It is a very tricky exercise. So I worked for 27 years at the Farmington Country Club, which is on the opposite end of the county that we are in, Albemarle County, which is Charlottesville, Virginia. Keswick is a community to the right side of the center of Charlottesville. And when you work at a place like Farmington, it's super busy. I mean, place is packed with people. It has, we had so many members over there, it's unreal. So it became very difficult just to handle the volume of members, especially during COVID. I mean, Farmington was always busy because it had a big membership. You come to Keswick, now you have a smaller membership, but you also have this hotel that, in theory, if it's full with 80 people that all wanted to play golf, well, guess what? You could have a problem. So you thread the needle. Fortunately, we don't have that situation happen very often. This hotel is very nice. It would be an incredible place for you to bring a significant other in your life and have a romantic weekend or a romantic week, because the spa and the hotel experience and the food experiences. And there's so many things to do in this area for visitors, so that tends to take away some of the demand. But let's just say you have a high demand hotel on a high demand club member day, and you're putting 130, 140 golfers on the golf course. That is a tricky deal to do in a resort when some people want to play in a two ball and there's only what 54 starting times a day. So you end up threading the needle on a lot of things to try to make it work. We're not like Pebble Beach that are going to tell you every time you play that we're going to pair you with someone that you may not know. If we're trying our best to have people enjoy the experience that they came to enjoy, but there are times that you end up having to do some of that. So it's just a game of compromise. I'm from Kentucky originally. Henry Clay, the statesman from Kentucky, was known as the Great Compromiser, settled a U.S. presidential election, sometimes settling the golf at Keswick Hall, making everybody happy is a tricky deal, but it seems to work. I will tell you this, it seems to work, and I think people have a really great experience when they come here.
Well, there are no strangers, right? Just people we haven't met yet. So I hope that's the case there as
Bingo,
well. Uh,
bingo,
we
bingo.
talk a lot about hiring and retention of staff here at Club and Resort Business. Uh, with COVID, not only did golfers increase, but interest in golf careers has increased as well. What qualities do you look for when you're hiring an assistant golf professional or anybody at the staff or at the club? And how do you support the professional development?
Well, those are really good questions. I think the most important thing you try to figure out with someone is their character. What type of person am I dealing with here? Is it a person that's honorable? Are they honest? Can they do they have a spirit of being trustworthy? Are they loyal? Are they hardworking? Do they have a great personality? I mean, our business is still the service business, and it's a game where you have to have good communication skills. And the question always asked at Farmington, and I think we Farmington is was and continues to be a great place. We do the same thing here. We ask people, "Are you a PhD?" And they'd say, "PhD? Well, no, I'm just in the 11th grade, or I'm just I was just a branch manager of a bank." I said, "You're not a PhD." They said, "Well, no." I said, "You're not poor, hungry, and driven." And that's the attitude that you look for in people in the service business. Are you poor, hungry, and driven with your spirit? Are you willing to do whatever it takes to make sure people have a great time? I mean, we try our best, and I feel like we do a really good job of carrying that culture that we're working hard to make people have a great experience and create this magical, special place here at Keswick Hall. It just fits perfectly because you can have the great buildings, and if you don't have the great spirit of the staff, it won't make sense. And we have both,
Yeah, people make a difference, obviously.
big time, big time. Now you asked about the development of the staff. There's a lot of upward mobility in a place like Keswick Hall because the benefit of having such a diverse business model of whether you have the spa or the hotel or marketing or sales or the golf or the tennis, the shops. I mean, there's four retail stores here. We just recently had a person that went from working in the golf shop. Now they're a marketing specialist helping do marketing for the whole property. I mean, a lot of places would not create those opportunities. We had a young lady that went from being the beverage cart girl to the assistant restaurant manager to the grill manager. I mean, those are pathways within the organization that you can move up within your organization. And then we constantly have cultural Keswick University moments where we as a group, especially in the winter, it gets trickier this time of year. Keswick University, where we're teaching training on customer service, on the hiring, the development of staff, all of those things are part of the program that will prepare you to work here, experience those things in reality, and then take them to the next facility that you happen to go to if we don't have places to move people up.
Uh, you'd mentioned golf shop, and our buddy Zach was that leads me to my next question. Our buddy Zach was wearing a an awfully nice Grayson hoodie he got from your pro shop. which means times have changed. 10 years ago, you're not finding a hoodie at a golf shop, uh, but now you are. So the private clubs and resorts have changed and have kind of adapted with the time. How have you seen it over the last decade, from Farmington Country Club to now Keswick Hall, and how have you adapted to the change?
Well, the stickler at a place like Farmington, two things that are going to change whether people want them to change or not. It's just going to be the very few clubs that can keep people's shirts tucked in. I mean, that's that when people go to a resort, they want to be able to let their hair down and have some fun and untuck their shirt. They're still, and that's a huge conflict for a lot of club people. And but there are places out there and a lot of people in the clubs that are really trying to police that are driving themselves crazy and their members or customer crazy by telling them tuck your shirt in. That's one thing that's for real. The actual style of clothes of what people wear with mock. You remember Tiger Woods came out with a mock collar 15 years ago. Now the hoodie's the thing. I'm sure there's always going to be something that's the thing. What seems to be on the female side that gets everybody's attention is how short the skirt keeps moving up to play golf in. When it started, when really got in the business, I mean, I've been in the golf business since I was about 13 years old, if you want to know the truth. I'm 59, I'll be 60 in September. So for my whole life, the skirt started at the knee. Well, now it just keeps moving up. It's about an inch every 5 years. So you can do the math on that. And that one gets a lot of attention as well at the private clubs that don't have a resort element. The resorts tend to be less strict on those sorts of things because people are on vacation. They want to get a break from some of that. You're seeing PGA Tour players wear shorts in practice rounds. It started with the caddies about 10 years ago. Then it goes to the players are now wearing shorts. They're wearing shorts on the live tour all the time. So this whole thing is like everything in America is kind of being dumbed down. There'll be a moment where it finally catches up to everybody but maybe Augusta National. Okay.
Well, I know our girl Paige Spiranek has caught some flack from the private club side with some of her outfits, and yeah, I'm not complaining. But times they are changing, right? So you guys are in the heart of wine country down there, which makes me, reason number 243 I want to visit. How do you leverage
Please
the
do.
local character with to create a unique golf experience?
Well, we have a great couple of vineyards that are really close. Southwest Mountain Vineyard, owned by Paul Manning, a great guy. He's a great friend of Rory McIlroy's, by the way. I mean, you can get there and it's a 5 minute drive down the street, having wonderful wine tasting. Mary Mill, which is right down not far from there either. There are 106 wineries in this area. Virginia last year won the award for outstanding wine region in America by the Wine Enthusiast magazine, like one of the top accredited awards you could get. Virginia is for more than just lovers. It's for golf, it's for wine, it's for history. We have three of the first five U.S. presidents are from here: Madison, Monroe, and Jefferson. Everybody always hears about Jefferson, but Madison had a home here, and Monroe had a home right next door to Jefferson, Ash Lawn. So you have a lot of reasons to come visit that more than just taking a dip in the Chardonnay and the Sauvignon Blanc.
Hey, you had me at Savvy B, right? So I'll get you out on this one, Rob. Uh, we got I always ask people to take your crystal balls out, right? I want you to look 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road. First, what do you see changing at Keswick Hall? Anything new on the horizon? And maybe what do you think the industry can look forward to as a whole?
Well, I don't want to give away any trade secrets about what we're thinking about doing necessarily. I know that Mrs. Hardy, first of all, this lady has got such an amazing taste. Just the ambiance that you feel with the decor and the design is spectacular. And she is always looking to make things better. And we continue to do things to add little features to make the property better. But um, where I see the industry going, certainly this technology in golf and the sophistication. I'm not sure it makes people, the average Joe, better. It's definitely making the elite better. Can you imagine? I can't imagine. I never saw my swing on video till I was 23 years old. Um, these kids, they start swinging on camera when they're 6, and the dieting, the food, the weightlifting, the exercise. So there's going to be a change in the golf program, if you ask me, that if you don't have high-end performance centers, and we're looking at those things now, we're obviously weighing all of our options, and we're always taking a look at things. And it may or may not be the right play for us, but I definitely see that as going to be a major component of the golf business in the next 10 years. It's going to almost be just SOP with any good facility. You're going to have something in that wheelhouse of indoor golf to video golf, the TrackMan, the Top Tracer type experience. That's certainly coming. Uh, you're going to see more and more into fitness. You're going to see more and more of the clubs evolve into having things other than just traditional golf, tennis, swimming, fitness. It's going to keep growing and growing and growing with more and more things because people trust their clubs. People trust their clubs, and that's a really important part of the club business, that it's a place that you feel safe to go to. And we saw evidence of that really on steroids during COVID.
Hey, it's a
So
home away from
that's
home,
what I
right?
think exactly. And we treat you like you're coming to your home. So and that's why people like them. And that's one of the things I think we benefit when the hotel guest comes here. We treat a hotel guest like a member. We're not treating a member like a hotel guest. So that's a big thing that really makes someone feel special to be part of a luxury experience.
Well, hey, from your mouth to God's ears, let's get it done. Let's keep moving this thing forward. And Rob McNamara, thank you for joining us on the podcast.
Well, thank you so much, Rob, and I sure appreciate it. And I think I've seen your work before. I love what you do, and thank you for including me. Thank you for including Keswick Hall. I know it'll be nice to hear you say these nice things about us. We just want you to come visit and be a guest. Please visit.